thank you everybody for inviting me back. I'll get right into it. Tip from Tami this week builds on tip number 1 from last week, which was a very simple little tip, which was how to put an image into an email and then link it to a video. And what happened was everybody says, well, what video do we link to this image? So I decided to put together a video that you could use, and this is only one way that you could create a video to sell a local theme jack website. And the reality is you can just use your imagination and you could tweak this to sell anything in offline marketing. You could use it to sell video, reputation, websites, call tracking services, whatever it is that you want to sell. But tonight we're going to focus on local theme jack websites and one method within the scheme of things that you could use. For those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Tami Patzer, and I've been a local offline marketer since 2010. I also teach at Florida Gulf Coast University. I speak a lot around the state of Florida and actually around the country for SCORE, Small Business Administration, Sea Grant. I've written a couple books about social media and Pinterest. I am a former newspaper editor and publisher and actually a video producer. And then I was a Main Street Marketing Machines hero with Mike Koenig's Traffic Geysers. So I have been out to San Diego several times sharing my local success stories with people at his events. And thankfully, Jack Hopman recognized something in me, and I'm here talking to you tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. It's really fun because I've managed, every time I do these tips, they always seem to come out to 10 steps. So I'm just going to go over the 10 steps tonight, and then I'm going to give you an example. And I've already recorded 2 samples that you'll have access to, and Jack will tell you how you can access them. And I also wrote a script, and the script is not meant to be anything perfect, but it's certainly a good place to start so that you can understand that you really are just offering some really good education and help, and then at the end you're giving them an offer they can't refuse. So it's pretty basic education, give them an offer they can't refuse in 3 minutes or less. And I think that this presentation or video that you can create, if you really practice and tweaked it, you might be able to get it down to 2 minutes, but you don't want to sound like you're rushing through this, and you want to make sure that it's valuable information coming out of your mouth. Every word that comes out of your mouth should be leading them into that, wow, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. So here's the first thing, that the way that I started with this presentation is I would start with determining the niche that I'm going to go after. And what I did in this particular example is I just went to Jack's sample and I found asbestos. I can't even pronounce it, but I found that was the sample. And then I did a little research of a potential client. And again, this is only one way that you could use this method. I personally like to hand pick my clients, but if you're using Lead Finder Jack, you can make this a generic video. So don't get stuck by going, oh, well, Tami did it exactly like this. This is designed so that you can apply your own personality to it, and it will work for you if you do it as a customized potential client or in a generic form. So keep in mind that if you don't have to do this exactly the way that I'm doing it, but if you take these steps, I think that you'll find it's pretty easy. Step number 3, I pick out my ideal prospective client, and then I actually go do what I set up my tabs, and I'm going to demonstrate what that means. Then I printed out my script. I wrote it, of course, first, but in this case, you could take this script, make it your own, or I often just wing it, meaning I set up my program and then I talk. And here's what I find. If I have a script, I can make it short and sweet. If I just talk, I have a tendency to go off script, because I noticed today when I was recording, I was practicing, and if I kept to the script, 3 minutes. If I went off script, 4 minutes. So that's just a tip. Step 6, get your screen recorder set up with your microphone. All I'm using is a simple headset, a Logitech cheap headset. It's probably a $30 headset. You can use more expensive microphones. I tested today with free Jing, which is from TechSmith, and with Jing, the free service, you get 5 minutes, which is plenty. I also tested with Screencast-O-Matic. The pro level, you can use it for free, but it watermarks it. I spend $15 a year to use Screencast-O-Matic Pro Edition. It does a really nice job of recording. It's a simple setup, and it works on Mac or PC. So I try to give you tools so that you can work or use with any computer device you have. Step 7, you have to get ready and motivated. You have to be excited about helping the person you're talking to. You have to smile when you talk. Right now I'm smiling. Do you notice the difference in my voice when I smile? You have to visualize that person in your head and talk to that person as if they were right in front of you and you were doing this presentation. I think that's really important when you're trying to convey enthusiasm into space, when you really are all by yourself and you're trying to sell something to someone or educate someone. Step 8 is you record it, and then you can upload it to YouTube as an unlisted video, or you can use another service. If you're using Jing, for example, you could save it into their screencast.com, and then you'd have a link. So that's a decision that you can make, but YouTube unlisted works great because you have that URL. And then, of course, you want to use email with tracking, so that means that you can use your Lead Finder Jack or any other system, but why not use the tools you've got? If you've got Lead Finder Jack, you've got the best tools out there. And then, of course, follow up. Follow up is the secret to this whole thing, because if you never follow up, meaning you need to call them or you need to send additional emails to make sure that, number one, did they get it? What did they think? Because you can't always guarantee that they're going to see it in their hundreds of emails they might get or take the time to read it. So you might have to send them the information a couple times and follow up with a phone call. And if you're tracking it, the beauty of that is you know when they open it, how many times they share it, you know a lot of information, and it makes that call a very warm, if not hot, call. And then if they're really into it, they're going to actually pick up the phone and call you or send back an email to you. So those are your 10 steps. And if you do each one, you can make a nice little system, and it won't take you very long to do this. here's a sample script, and it's too small for you to read, but what I did do is I saved it and put it into our Dropbox, so Jack will be able to share this with you. And again, this is just a script to make it easy for you and so that you have a flow. You don't have to use the exact wording. It's really just a sample of how I put together. I found your website and see that you need some updates to bring it current. In this particular instance, I actually found a website that obviously was old, and then I'm saying, if you can give me 3 minutes, I can show you how to make your online presence better to help you get more customers and clients. I promise that if you watch this video, you will get valuable, up-to-date information about websites today and a surprise that will make it more than worth it. So I'm telling them immediately who I am. All I want are 3 minutes, and if you watch it to the end, I'm going to give you something that's going to make it worth it, and then I just move on, and I'll show you exactly how I did it. If you ever watched my first training about the 21 things that make a good website, I followed the similar formula where I use my local theme jack as my good example to explain to people this is why this website is good. And I never say anything negative, even though I show a sample of their website. I never say a negative thing about their website or their presence at all, and you'll see that in a couple minutes. And then at the very end, I do give them a price. And again, I'm not telling you how much to sell these websites for. It really depends on several factors. Where do you live? What is the going rate for website services in your area, and the niche you're in? Because obviously an attorney is going to get much higher lead value than, say, a guy selling pizza. You know, in terms of a client to an attorney might be worth $10,000, where the guy selling pizza, it might be worth $10. And then, of course, when people keep coming back time after time after time, it adds up. But those are things that I can't advise you on in terms of this, because this is a generic example. But I do give you an example where you could say, you know, you're going to save 50% and it's this much, or it's only this much per month. And that could include a call tracking system, because of course call tracking for leads is very hot. And if you're not using that type of a service, you really should be, because call tracking is a way that you can actually determine, is your online presence working for you? So I'll move on. Of course, I wanted to say, what tools do you need to do this method? You're going to need a screen capture software. So TechSmith.com, Jing is free, or Screencast-O-Matic. You can use it free or pay $15 a year to get the Pro Edition. And what that does is it takes the time limitation off of how long you can make your videos, and it also takes the watermark off. Again, it works on Windows or Mac, and it's very easy, and I like it because I can upload directly to YouTube, or I can download an MP4 file, or I can even use their service for storing the video. So I like those tools. What I'm going to show you next is I'm going to show you what would be in each tab of my presentation, and I'll go ahead and show you the samples, and then I think what I'll go ahead and do is I'll try to create what it would sound like, you know, a live version, you know, knowing that I might stumble and make some mistakes, but at least it'll give you an idea of my pace and the tone and everything. So this is an example of a person or a company that has asbestos as one of their services. And again, this was a random search. I just went and I put in the term asbestos removal. I clicked, and this is, you know, lo and behold, look what I found. I found an old website that needed help. So this is the first image that I took a screenshot of. Then I went to a mobile emulator, and I put their URL into a mobile emulator and took a screenshot of what their website looks like on a mobile device. And then I took a shot of what their website looks like on a tablet. And as you can see, their website is only half there. And this particular website is missing a lot of factors, as you can see. I mean, I couldn't have found a better example if I had tried harder for this particular example. So then I went and I found the ibizleads.com demo site, and of course it's all pretty and fits into the mobile. And so I took a screenshot of that. And then, of course, I took more screenshots of the website, and you'll understand all of this when I actually do the presentation of how this all fits together. So then I have a website of the About Us page, and then, of course, I show the review page, the Contact Us page with the map, and then I actually took an image of my own website because I want to give them an idea of who I am, and I'm showing the example that I'm using the same thing that I'm telling them I think they should use, plus they can see my face. And then I go back and end it with the asbestos removal, and I show the mobile device in this particular slide. And of course, on my real example, I'm not able to paste the mobile site on top of the asbestos removal, but you could, if you were doing this, there's a couple ways that you could do this. You could take screenshots and do exactly what I just did and make a recording over it, or you can do it another way, and let me show you what that other way is. So this is, hopefully, can you now see the live screen that says newmediamash.com digital marketing? Can you see that, everybody?
Yes.
I can't hear Jack.
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. So what I do, and this is an example, is notice at the top as I click through the tabs here, I set up all my tabs to the live screenshots here, okay? And then what I do is of course, I set up my recorder, and it's either going to be, if I'm using Jing, of course, I would select the Jing and actually, I'm not sure how well this will translate over the webinar, but I would actually grab it, can you see that, and I would actually then record that. I'm afraid that on the webinar it might not work well, so I'm not going to actually record it live, but I would go through, and again, I've got my initial example of their website. I have the mobile image. I have the tablet image. Then I show the local theme jack image as a mobile. And then I, of course, show it when it's a regular page. And then I have the About Us. And then I go back to the page, and again, I'll do a demo so you'll see how I'm using this. And then again, I'm actually wanting to show this map down here. And then, of course, I'm showing the testimonials, and I'm using my testimonials as the testimonial example because I don't have any about them right at the moment. And then I have my About Us page. Again, I'm really using this so that they're looking at my face as I talk. And then I can end it on the digital marketing, showing the Contact Us page again. So let me go ahead, and I'm going to read my script and try to demonstrate to you exactly how it sounds and what it looks like. And again, in this particular sample, what I'm showing is a real potential client. Now, you could not have this part of the presentation where you have a real website, and you could actually start it here, because then you could present it in the demo mode, where you would say, I created this website demo just for you. That might be one way that you could do it, and then you could do a similar presentation pointing out all the things that make this a good website. So I'm just going to do it. My model will be as if I were making this for a potential client that I know I can help. I mean, it's pretty obvious that we could really help this particular company if we choose to. So let me just go through it, and again, I may stumble. This is not perfect, and that's something that I learned today that I think is really, really important, is it doesn't have to be 100% perfect for it to work. I think that we always want everything to be perfect the way we speak, but naturally, maybe we might mispronounce something, maybe we stumble on our words, maybe we get a little tongue-tied. Even if it isn't 100% perfect, it still can be a very valuable video. So yes, practice until you feel comfortable, but don't practice so that you end up spending 8 hours to make one video that when it was probably good enough. And that was a lesson that I learned today, because I kept making these little words that didn't quite sound right in my head, and I was wasting time in essence because I was seeking perfection that the odds are that I wouldn't get trying to create this type of sales and marketing tool. So just keep that in mind, that it does not have to be perfect. Good is good enough. And if you're imparting valuable information, I think they're going to appreciate it a lot. So I'm going to go ahead, and I may stumble, so forgive me for that. This may not be perfect, so I'm going to give you that up front, but at least it's an example. And the way that I look at it is, if you took this information, it's Sunday night, March 1st, and you implement it tomorrow, Monday, and you sent it out, and you got something like one sale out of it, Wow, how cool would that be if you learned something on Sunday, implemented it on Monday, and then you actually made some money off of a tip? How cool would that be? That would really be cool. So anyway, let me go ahead and start.